Just as things settle down in the NBA, we get a trade today, right before the World Cup final. We got Lu Dort going to the Atlanta Hawks, Zaccharie Risacher going to the Dallas Mavericks, Ryan Nembhard going to the Atlanta Hawks. And what does OKC get out of this? 3 second-round picks. And they've gotten a total of 7 second-round picks during this offseason, and they save a bunch of cap money. So for OKC, this makes a lot of sense. They didn't even play Lu Dort in much of that San Antonio series. So why not focus on the other guards they have? And they drafted Bennett Sturts. They have Jared McCain. They're going to give him more minutes. Yeah, those guys aren't defensively the same type of player Lu Dort is, but those guys can shoot better. And OKC desperately needed shooting. So this trade makes a lot of sense for them. For the Dallas Mavericks, it also makes a lot of sense. Take a swing on a young player who hasn't reached his full potential. Yeah, he had a down year in Zaccharie Risacher. He had a sophomore slump. Lots of players have sophomore slumps. It's kind of normal. Even Jason Tatum had a sophomore slump. But Atlanta decided that's enough for us to see. We've had him in our building for 2 years, and we're ready to get him out. And they knew they couldn't get a first-round pick for him. So what do they get? They get basically an equivalent of 3 first-round picks and Ryan Nembhard for him. And they're like, hey, we'll give those 3 second-round picks for Lu Dort. And defensively, Atlanta is going to look strong. They're going to have Lu Dort. They're going to have Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson. I mean, that team defensively is going to look really, really strong. So in some sense, I get the deal for Atlanta. Plus, Lu Dort's on a 1-year deal. And so they're not tied to him. And they're going to have about $40 million in cap space if they don't, depending on what happens with the Kuminga deal after next year. But that all sounds exciting, cap space, but it all depends on what you do with that cap space. So I guess you can't fully grade this trade until we see what they do with that cap room. But in my opinion, I think they're giving up way too early on Zaccharie. He was second in Rookie of the Year voting not that long ago in his rookie year. And yeah, he had a sophomore slump. And I'll tell you his stats in a little bit here. He had 12 points in his first season, down to about 9.6. So his points per game dropped 3 points per game. And, he shot worse from the free throw line, 71% to 64%. And then from the 3-point line, his percentage actually went up on lower volume by about 0.1%. So he shot 35%, and then he in his rookie year, and he shot 37% in his sophomore year. He didn't look as good. I mean, that's was pretty clear watching him. But I think Atlanta was in a transition period, and in my opinion, you got to develop your young players. I understand it was a different GM who picked Zaccharie. It was Landry Fields. I would argue that you shouldn't give up on Zacharie's potential. Forget where he was picked and forget the draft that he was picked in, because that draft was weaker than normal. And in a lot of years, Zaccharie would have been around a lottery talent and not going number 1. So my point in saying all this is, I think they gave up too early on him. They should have developed him. At the same time, this is what you were going to get for him if you sold low on him. And I think they sold low on him. If I were the Hawks, I would have tried to develop him more. He does have 3-and-D potential. And maybe you're hoping, that he turns into a Lu Dort type of player. But Lu Dort wasn't that great from 3 in the playoffs. So I'm not really that excited to have him on my team for the playoff time. In the regular season, he's going to be great. But I think OKC knew that come playoff time, we can't rely on him especially against San Antonio, which that would be my main focus of mind if I'm OKC. How do I defeat Wemby and the Spurs? Okay, this guy wasn't really helping me. All right, maybe I need to look for someone else then. And so they're going to rely on Bennett Sturts. They're going to rely on Jared McCain, like I said. They're going to rely on more shooting potentially and less defense, and rely on that team defense to kind of cover, and help out instead of relying on Lu Dort's excellent on-ball defense. So, again, I love the trade for the Dallas Mavericks. I can't say they got to steal yet because they got to develop him, and there's a chance Risacher may not turn out to be that great a player. But again, this is the type of swing you should take. And I'm surprised that there weren't many other teams that were willing to take this gamble. Now, the thing is, I think Atlanta wanted a win-now player, and not many teams wanted to give a win-now player away. OKC was probably the only one who was willing to do that at this point because they get to shed cap space, and they could use those second-round picks later to turn those second-round picks into a rotation player. So, again, this was a very interesting trade, and I think that's all I had to say about it. I appreciate you watching. Peace.